Well, in 2007, I did a book for National Geographic called The Biblical World, which tried to put the stories of the Bible in the context of the geography and culture of ancient Egypt and ancient Israel. And lo and behold, the book became a bestseller. I'm not sure who was more surprised, my editor, Lisa Thomas, or I, but it sort of showed us that people really relate to a beautiful illustrated coffee table book about material from the Bible, illustrated with beautiful photographs, with archaeological artifacts, and with gorgeous maps. So then we did a second book called In the Footsteps of Jesus in 2012, which is a historical reconstruction of the path that Jesus walked through first century Galilee and into Judea. And of course, within the context of the Roman Empire, because you cannot separate the incredible growth of early Christianity from the tremendous changes that were taking place in the early Roman Empire of the first century. And that became a bestseller as well. So Lisa Thomas called me to Washington, D.C., together with my editor, Barbara Payne, and we said, well, how are we going to top this? What are we going to do next? And we agreed it should be a book about the men and women of the Bible. Now, there have been several who's who type books published in the last 20 years or so. So we addressed the question, how are we going to make this special? How are we going to make this unique? And one thing I wanted to do is to make it a book about storytelling. I wanted to make a book that I could use to introduce my grandkids, I have two beautiful grandsons, to that marvelous world of biblical stories. I love Disney, but the stories in Genesis or Exodus or Joshua are no less magical. And these are stories that are the foundation of Western civilization, the very basic system of ethics that we use even today, in addition to the spiritual values. So, whether you are Jewish or Christian or simply a history buff, we believe this book will certainly resonate with you. Who's Who in the Bible is actually two things. On the one hand, as we say, it's a comprehensive reference to over 2,000 men and women in Hebrew Scripture and the New Testament, filled with wonderful citations to the biblical text. But it's also a book about the stories of the Bible. So we highlight the key stories from Genesis to Maccabees, from the Gospels to Revelation, including the people who are the key protagonists of those stories.